looking at Wednesday, the 11th of September, quite a very important day on the calendar of the United States and again around the world, as today marks yet another anniversary of those horrific terror attacks on the United States home soil, the Twin Towers in New York, as well as the attack on the Pentagon, also in the United States. Those are horrific moments years and years ago, back in 2001. So this is an anniversary, yet another one. The United States and the world remembers those horrific attacks that led to the death of an estimated 3,000 individuals. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Frontier Opening Bell. Let's get on to our own markets here as we look at some of the biggest news across the continent today. 0.62% took the Nigerian stock market index, the NGX, higher yesterday on the news that the SEC has approved 20 billion naira rights issue for Japan Gold. The share offering of Zenith Bank's been extended until towards the end of the month, about 23rd, 25th of September. So that means the big bank will continue to sell its public offer and rights issue on Market Street. You've got quite a whole lot to digest, as well as Owando shares. The market yesterday moved up despite declines that we saw on some of the big names. But let's get on to the BRVM in Cote d'Ivoire with 0.48%. Upside, roughly 0.5% for the composite index, now heading towards 260 reading. The Egyptian market, after initial comeback on Monday, went back into negative 33, roughly 1% on Tuesday. And of course, the Nairobi stock market eked out 0.8%, roughly 167. As we saw, the GSE South Africa up by 0.25%, that's 81,684. Yesterday, the Zimbabwe stock market posted a single-day biggest jump of about 6.65% since September started. So let's get started with the headlines. Touching down in Nairobi, Kenya, where this morning the Kenya Airways issued notice to passengers that there will be some flight delays and cancellations, just as some workers at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport decided to go go slow, resulting in a near chaotic atmosphere at the airports from those traveling out and those arriving into this biggest economy in East Africa. The whole problems is because of the deal recently signed on between the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport Authority and the Adani business group out of India, looking to give Adani the opportunity to hold the Jomo Kenyatta International Airports in business for at least the next 25 years. The details of that deal is now being re-examined by certain authorities. The High Court has proposed that the deal be put on hold until all the issues relating to it are sorted out. There are folks talking about protests, public protests at the airport and all of that. So right now, things are looking a little bit tentative, as it were. The Jomo Kenyatta International Airports, if you're heading in that direction, you need to pay attention. This is yet another problem on the economic front for President Ruto's administration, who's just breathing a little bit or giving a sigh of relief after those deadly protests over the Finance Act 2024, which is now still being restructured. In the meantime, the NCBA Bank in Kenya is investing 644 million shillings in cybersecurity because the cases of cyber attacks are increasing in number. And Ethiopia and Djibouti has officially flagged off the first bulk cargo containerization between the two countries in the Horn of Africa. Meanwhile, Treasury in Kenya raised rate dip for the 6 straight weeks on government treasuries being sold, according to data from the Office of the National Treasury, while Tanzania is moving to safeguard access to EU coffee export market. Let's come to West Africa and grab a few headlines for you. Let's start with a big story just coming through this morning. Nigeria reporting that a total of $900 million was raised in the country's first diaspora bond sale of $500 million US. Is the first test case of diaspora investment or fundraising in Nigeria by the current administration that took office at the end of May 2023. The whole idea was to invest this money in critical infrastructure locally, and it's been priced as a 10-year paper of roughly 8%. return. Let's look at Nigeria's oil output. That's according to OPEC releasing its August report yesterday. Nigeria's output up 3.4% according to the data at 1.35 million barrels per day last month. In the meantime, OPEC Plus has revised once again its global oil demand outlook for 2024 and 2025. 2.03 billion barrels per day for this year and 1.5 million barrels per day, thereabout, for 2025. 2025 oil demand is expected to be shot by 40,000 barrels per day and 80,000 barrels per day for the rest of 2024. In the meantime, a lot of red carpets, party time in Abidjan, the headquarters of the AFDB, as the DFI, the iconic DFI, marks its 60th anniversary. It's been about 2-3 days long anniversary with speeches and presentations talking about the milestones reached under the FDB's 66 decades of operations on the continent. And of course, the current president, Akumi Adesina, highlighted his achievements over the last 10 years. He will be buying out of office at the end of 2010, and that will be next year. And Chinese firm is going to construct a real estate housing in Liberia, while Ghana's milling industry is in pains because the price of maize has gone up 80%. That's a lot of head scratching for those folks in that business. Let's move to Southern Africa. And of course, South Africa's national roads or highways are in a deplorable state. So the country would need roughly 307 billion rand, in a manner of speaking, to revamp those roads and put them in order. Quite a whole tough there, how the money will come through. So will there be what you call a tolling, whatever it is, to raise the money? It's quite a tough one there for the administration in Pretoria. In the meantime, South Africa Treasury bond auction of roughly 3.7 billion rand drew about 19 billion subscriptions on Tuesday. That's according to the Treasury. Investors piled into the government securities. And no good news for South Africa, of Namibia, I beg your pardon, as ExxonMobil, the US energy giant, dropped out of the $10 billion Namibian oil field acquisition. There are a few other contenders, however, in that particular transaction. And Malawi's Labour Minister says the country's labour laws need to be revamped and overhauled for the country to meet the 2063 African Union agenda. And economic news, or corporate news, Anglo-American has raised about 7.2 billion rand as the demerger of Amplats begins. We'll keep an eye on that particular deal. Amplats is looking to list on the London exchange, by the way, at the end of that transaction. So let's get on to North Africa and the news coming through. According to a survey, at least close to 67%, roughly 70% of Moroccans says they are pleased with the digitization of government activities. Now, they can do government or administrative processes or procedures via their mobile phone, tablets, or laptops from the convenience of their home offices or whatever, without going through government offices and queuing up to get those things done. Congratulations, Morocco, for simplifying administrative procedures and as part of ease of doing business. In the meantime, Egypt is reporting annual inflation up to 26.2% last month, according to the latest data, while the minister in charge of investment, Alpha Terms, is reviewing the current future projects within the country. And finally, in Morocco, the Al Haouz earthquake, 18 million, which was last year, September, by the way, $18 million recovery program is reviving that region's agricultural sector. Some of the success stories or comeback of that region from those devastating earthquakes that we saw last year. We wish everyone there all the best in Al Haouz region in Morocco. And those are your headlines this Wednesday, midweek edition of your Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosin Amofa. You do have a great day. Watch the show again online. Go to our website, visit our YouTube, subscribe free. And of course, you can follow us on all social media platforms.